Hey there, everyone. As you can see, I'm out of the studio as I'm down at my sister's beach house for a short family vacation. It's going to be pretty exciting. I'm going to do my best to keep this as normal and regular for you, at least as normal as I get, which isn't all that normal anyway. But I do want to give an update on BBAI stock with what we saw today and Soundhound. Oh my gosh, those two ripped down, but that could set up the next opportunity. We'll compare those two charts. Also, we're going to give an update on Block Inc. So XYZ is that ticker symbol for that one. Wait until you see that one. I talked about it as being another one of the best stocks to buy now for Q3 2025. And man, did it take off today. CLF was another one that I thought was being missed and actually has some pretty important technicals to pay attention to after over a 12% run. And then also Apple stock. I want to give an update on that as another one of the best stocks to buy for Q3 2025. So guys, let me pop this up here for you. And like I said, I am currently out of office, so I'm working from my laptop, and this thing is sitting on my lap and my legs are cooking. At least it's preparing me for that sunshine, I guess, on my pasty white thighs. So there's a visual for you. Let's continue from here. So what we're looking at is BBAI's chart. And so this is the daily chart, and it's probably going to be a little bit jauntier than what you're used to on my desktop. It's a little bit more powerful machine, but I'll show you a few things that I want you to make sure that you're paying attention to. First of all, let me take down a lot of these messy little lines here because I want you to see what we're rejecting on at the moment is this area of resistance up here. And man, I said we got to get above 872. Above 872, this thing makes sense. If we can't break out of it, we're probably going to have to sell off again. And that's exactly what we saw today. So if we put up the Fibonacci retracements, you can start to see a clustering in here. And if we also put up the extensions and we put up the major pivots on here, what that ends up building for us among all this mess, and I want you to see this, and I'll see how well I can use my drawing tools on here for you. Let me grab the rectangle. There we go, the rectangle, and we're going to click on this thing, click and clack. And then what we'll do is we're going to drag this across. This right here, I'll even do my best to turn it green for you. This is some very, very solid support that we're sitting on. Now, it doesn't mean that we're not going to drop down through it. We are facing a double top currently, so that's something that we have to watch out for. We still have bullish momentum on the daily. We have bullish momentum on the weekly. We have bullish momentum on the monthly. In the daily and weekly, bullish momentum, but declining. That's something that we want to watch out for and that we're prepared for. That could set us up for some further price weakness in the near term. I guess I should be talking to the webcam here instead of up to the other camera. So we do want to watch out for that one. And also take a look. Let me drop down these so we can see what the monthly candle looks like. So this is a very indecisive candle right now. If this is the way that we end July, then the next month, August candle tells us what to expect next. We should absolutely be watching for this. Let's drop back down to the near-term chart. We're going to put the technicals back up on here for you because here you can see the area of support that we're sitting on. These were not drawn today. These were up here for the last time that I had this. I said, watch for this tangle. We get got up here, and I talked about that days ago. So into Tuesday and Wednesday of last week, and you can see once we broke that resistance that we had before, it turned back into support for us. Now we ended up sitting on it. So this could be that reload zone. Taking those down, what else do we need to watch for this? Well, go back to the moving averages. We closed down below the 5. Watch for the 13. I was telling you the same thing over here, and I said reclaiming those moving averages was going to be huge. And you know what? It was huge to reclaim those moving averages, having a nice little price pump after that. Now we have a double top to watch out for with declining momentum. Got to be careful for that because over this time that you see here, we're for that overbought territory. We settled a little bit, couldn't quite pick that momentum back up again. Now we might be settling a little bit more. We don't have complete confirmation that the RSI is declining. As much like when you're looking at the charts with higher highs, higher lows, or lower highs, lower lows, you can treat the RSI somewhat the same thing. We have a lower high so far, but we haven't put in a lower low yet. Tomorrow's probably very important for us. Watch for that 13-day support. If we lose that, then watch for it as resistance, because if it holds as resistance, that is a different story than what we saw back on Monday the 14th. Just so you know, if it holds as resistance, we could head on down and test the 50-day, and that could actually set us up for that next major opportunity. There is a lot of support that happens as we start to get down around here that we see further clustering start to take place, plus we get a full gap fill should we come on back all the way down to this 50% Fibonacci retracement level that's waiting down here for us. It'd be painful in the near term, but I was setting up for this with selling some calls, figuring that we might see a peak up at those resistance levels. I should be able to capitalize on those pretty well. If we continue to sell it down, it'll allow me to hold on to my shares and maintain a long position for BBAI, and we'll watch for where that turnaround happens. And should we see signs that this thing is going to turn around in the near term, that's where I think my call options are going to take place. Soundhound, this one's a little bit different. We don't see the landing on the same clustering as we did for BBAI. We also closed down below the 5, and the 13 period happens to be at 1173. Well, we closed 1170, so we closed down below both of those EMAs. So it's important tomorrow to watch and see. Now, in the post market, we're back up above, lower trading volumes. Really, tomorrow's candle is the thing that decides if we come back and test the 50 on this thing. I talked before about the pop we could get. We got it. Now we're facing a double top, similar to what we had for BBAI. So that is absolutely worth paying attention to in the near term. Now, something that I thought was interesting, and you might also find it interesting, is that we actually hit pretty darn significantly. Let me take all these down. This resistance ray that's up here, that you can see we have 1, 2, at least 3, 4 on the screen that I can get after, all the way back here, going back to, it looks like March the 3rd. Every time that we've gotten to that line, we've happened to sell off and have some significant selling pressure. This time's been no different. Watch for that support rate down below that. And then if we put the pivots back up there, there's no pivot nearby, retracements, we could pull back. Right now we're at about the 38.2. Watch for that pull back down to 11.21. If we hold support down here, we could bounce back up again. As of right now, we do have a higher low, and we do technically have a higher high. So this could be one of those that we were looking for, just looking for a solid spot to take our money and run, and that could be where we get some of that selling pressure taking place. All right, moving over to some of the celebratory stocks. XYZ, Block Inc. Here we go. This one I talked about for a while as being one of the best stocks to buy for Q3 2023, and this one had a big old pop today, up 7.22%, and we'll see if we get a gap fill in that eventually. We actually don't have pivots on this until we get up to about 82, which is the top of the trading range. As I said, as we got into this, we could see a golden cross. We could see long-term bullishness. And this thing I've been tracking since before it hit $70 per share. Today hitting up over 78, outperforming the indices, which is exactly what we were looking for. So we can call that mission accomplished, but we could still have some coattails to ride in this. And that doesn't mean it's necessarily over for Q3 or throughout the rest of 2025. We're going to have to see what develops from it. Cleveland Cliffs, here we go, CLF, this one. And we're looking at the monthly chart right now. Some very important things to look at as per the moving averages. Today up 12.45%. Big old candle after signs of a reversal. Closed up above the 5 so far, because this is the month of July candle that we're looking at right now. The 13 EMA happens to be at 1068. We closed today at 1066, so just south of that one. If we drop down to weekly, the story gets even better because we closed up above the 50, the 5, and the 13. That's exactly the look that we want for bullishness. Even though we're still in that long-term downtrend, the RSI on this ripely above 50, signaling that we could be hitting that longer-term trend. The monthly RSI is rising. We have a confirmed rise as of today's close so far. The month of July still has to finish stronger in order to really confirm it after this significant long-term decline that we had for the momentum. If we drop down to the daily chart, we actually are in overbought territory, but more important than the RSI right now is the fact that we're above the 200 EMA, and if we put the 200 SMA up there, we're above that as well. So we have actually flipped into bullish territory on a daily basis for Cleveland Cliffs, and I still think that this is one of the best stocks to buy for Q3 2025. I'm going to say 2023. 2025 should absolutely be on your list, and I hope that you guys were able to enjoy some of that rise. My first purchase on this, I think, was south of $7. I'm going to have to go ahead and check. I did buy more of it today as we broke up above the 200-day on strong earnings. Now for Apple. Apple is one that I have for one of my best stocks to buy for Q3 2025. They do have earnings coming up, so we have some of that earnings risk to go off of, but the technicals are suggesting that we could have a very clear rise from here. Apple's just missing that big catalyst, and they are a company that knows really how to impress with the news that they put out. Tariff things are kind of dragging them down right now because, well, they actually do a lot of importing from other countries and really have a lot of exposure over in China, for example, and they've suffered as a result of it. And then also people are looking for, okay, well, you're behind in the AI race right now. What's your next innovation? And honestly, I think that there could be potential with Apple Silicon. That would actually be My primary candidate for them would be on the hardware side of things, as Apple Silicon actually does some pretty impressive things on the AI side for the consumer level, just very entry-level AI stuff. And maybe that's where they start to put in that next big innovation. We'll see, but I will say they got cash. I don't know how to say that more emphatically, that they are just a massive company with a massive bankroll and with a nearly $3 trillion market cap. They might be south of that right now. They have a lot of access to capital, and that could be big for acquisitions. That can also be big for R&D, and I think that it could translate very well over time for Apple. And the more that they get smushed down, I think the better deal that it gets. So let me pop this up here, and we'll talk a little bit more about the technicals that we see. Once again, it's darn double tops. There we go. We peaked out again, tried to close up above the 200 EMA, just couldn't do it, but we did break out of a symmetric triangle pattern. This should print out pretty well for us. Should put us up in the 230 to 240 range if we can get on top of that 200, that darn 200 EMA. If we put up the SMA for a moment, a bit farther north, all the way up at 221. But this nice little bull flag look that it has to it should allow us to come up and test out that 221 in the near term of things. We're above the 20 and the 50, with the 20s about to cross the 100. That could be that next push that we're looking for. Getting not so much of a volume accumulation yet. There might be minor signs that it might start to happen, but we're going to have to watch and see. We could be watching with bated breath going into earnings for Apple. So, guys, those are the stock updates that I have for you, including my best stocks to buy now. So I wanted to give the update on BBAI and what it could do in the near term, just based off the technicals. We could get any amount of huge news on this thing. As a matter of fact, I think that within this quarter, we're going to hit that next big news, that there's some massive revenue coming their way towards BBAI. In the meantime, I'm looking for the place where the stock settles so that I can find a nice place to position myself, maybe sell some puts, as I think we're nearing a bottom price that can put me in at a very solid cost basis. And that is not financial advice for you, but it is what I'm looking for myself and the commentary that I have for BBAI stock. For Soundhound, I know a little bit less about them fundamentally. That was always more of a technical play, but I do know that NVIDIA has their own stake in it, and that they really are a company that has a lot of promise, a lot of hype to them as well. We got to watch and see where the bottom is for that as well. I'm not going to take my time chasing this, trying to catch a falling knife. Once again, looking for the signs for that reversal to come around it to Soundhound stock. And then for the other ones that I've reported on here, Block Inc., I think still has a fair amount of upside to go, maybe another 8%, maybe more. And then for Cleveland Cliffs, I think that one's just getting started. I think it's going to have a pretty wild Q3, maybe even end of 2025, maybe even into 2026. We're going to have to see that development as it goes along. And being tied to the steel industry, we want to pay attention to the news that comes along with that, what deals happen, because if it looks like we're going to start to get more foreign steel, for example, and the tariffs aren't necessarily so bad, that could be downward pressure on the stock. But if it looks like we're going to try and source American as much as possible, and there's going to be a lot of cash dumped their way, that's something that actually could be pretty darn big for upward pressure for the stock. And I think there's a high potential that we're going to see more of a run from where we're at right now. I got my fingers crossed on that 2X that takes us back into the $20 territory for Cleveland Cliffs. And then Apple, I think, is one that's just, I think that they're also a grower, and I don't think that they're going to stay down at these levels for long. And if they do dip a little bit harder, then we'll look for that next big opportunity that comes along. We got their earnings coming up. We'll see what sort of opportunity that sets for us. If we run up to those earnings, then we also got to watch out for the earnings risk. Now, for investors, then we ride the volatility out and just, whatever happens, happens. If we're traders, the idea there is more that you kind of, swing along with it if that's exactly what you're doing. So for Apple, if you swing it up and then we hit the earnings time, then you don't want to sweat the earnings risk. Well, then you know what to do from there. And again, not financial advice, guys, just ideas, just some commentary, just some talk. I'd love to hear from you down in the comments. If you guys want to see more of what I have to offer and the other panel experts, there's a whole team of us there over at the Discord, link in the description, there to support you in your journey towards building financial freedom and building alpha in your portfolio. Code word doctor with the earner tier is going to get you a discount on unrestricted access to everything that's offered to the community members. It's community thousands of members deep already, and they are the best community that I've ever had a chance to be part of, and I am so proud that I could be there talking with them throughout the days. A little bit lighter this week because it is a vacation week for me, but back axe to the grindstone when I get back to it on Monday of next week as well. I do talk a little bit and do a little bit of things on the weekends over at the Discord as well. Other team members over there are active pretty solid 7 days a week over there that you can just see the different things that they're sharing and everything. And by the way, coursework, technical analysis, trading using technicals, options, if you want that, code word doctor through the link for Stockmo Academy for the two courses that are down there. Bundle the two courses to get the bundle discount. Code word doctor even deepens the discount for that. It is a one-time fee, lifetime access sign up. So guys, go ahead and check them out. They're rock solid courses, and they can also help invest in yourself, once again, helping you get towards that financial freedom goal and also that goal of having that market outperformance, that alpha in your portfolio. Thank you very much for watching. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning. You'll see you next video.